Well, we didn't expect the Philadelphia Eagles season to start with a spit fiasco, but we sure did expect a win. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. My name is Zach. With me is Andrew, and we're back to talk all things Philly sports now that the Philadelphia Eagles have gone ahead and they did win that home opening game against the Dallas Cowboys 24-20, 20-24, whatever you want. The Eagles won. Eagles did not cover the spread. The Eagles did win, and that's all that really matters, folks. Crazy game. I mean, I would say the one thing that we were correct about, that Andrew was very much on point with, was predicting that the Eagles secondary was going to be the weakest link of the game. I think I correctly predicted that Dallas was going to score a lot in the first. I said the first quarter, but they scored a lot in the first half. Didn't score at all in the second half. However, the Eagles barely scored in the second half. So we had some things right, but wow, the lack of dominance by the Eagles sure was evident, and we sure were incorrect about that. And I think that is where I'm going to lead off with, because while I think the team as a whole definitely underperformed, I would say that Jalen Hurts at least still stepped up. I think Hurts was the game maker and the one who saved this game. I mean, coming in with 2 rushing touchdowns, so mad I didn't bet that. He literally saved the game, and I can't be more on the Jalen Hurts bandwagon. Is a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, no one could predict that the Eagles would lose a player to an injury on the opening kickoff and then lose Jalen Carter, arguably the best defender, before the first snap. So, yeah, it was not – you see those first 2 things happen before the first snap happens, and it's like, okay, this could be not a long night. This is not already the Eagles' favorite. But, no, with all that being said, I think, we talked about, it's the first game. You have a lot of new faces on the team. You have a new offensive coordinator, and I think you saw a lot of that mixed in with losing your best defender. And I think that's important to note, because that does change the impact of the Cowboys' offensive line, how they scheme against the Eagles' defensive line, because Jalen Carter's a guy you're usually going to put 1 to 2 guys on him and open up a lot of different spots for the defense. And I think you saw a lot of that on the early goings. But, I mean, Vic Fangio did Vic Fangio things, and we saw a lot of it last year where they allow points in the first half and they allow yardage in the first half. But what is not arguable is he's one of the best coaches that knows how to make adjustments, and he sure did that in the second half, as you already mentioned. You gave up 0 points in the second half. And I get it, there's a lot of panic because of the secondary at times, but in the end, this defense only gave up 2 touchdowns. So I don't think it's as bad as people are making out to be. I mean, was it pretty? No. But I get it. They were saved by a fumble, too, which obviously was near the red zone, if not in the red zone. So that would have been at least probably 3 points for the Cowboys there if they take care of the ball. But my point here is it was only 2 touchdowns in the end, and you won the turnover battle. So I think it was, in the end, I think that's the best way to say it. It was a week 1 game, right, where you don't play preseason games anymore. So a lot of these guys are still shaking out rust and that. And my last thing, and it's only 1 game, so I don't think it's, all doom and gloom with him, but I wasn't a big fan of Patullo's offensive game calling. I think he came out strong, but with the adjustment thing, I don't think he adjusted very well. And as you already mentioned, Jalen Hurts put this team on his back and really picked up a lot of slack there from the offense and carried this team to a win.
I will say, agreed. He wasn't the strongest. I think the players reacted, which is what won this game. And especially Jalen Hurts being able to run the ball for, a quick total of 62 yards, including 2 of his touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like those, that's another thing, like for anyone who didn't watch the game, those rushing touchdowns weren't tush-push touchdown. Like he actually ran those in. And it says a lot. And, Barkley right there was 60 yards. So it's not like Barkley wasn't running the ball either. You know what I mean? Like It was, those 2 were the workhorses of this game. Regarding Vic and the defense, I do want to talk about how I think at the end of the day, I'll use our last podcast as a great example. You come into this especially Dallas week, right? Especially Dallas week, and you're like, I just want a BTA all game long. You want that absolute ass whooping in Eagles versus Cowboys format, right? But at the end of the day, these are two NFL teams, and the Cowboys with Dak Prescott is a problem. I just don't like Dak, so I'm not willing to make that like very clear. But they are a problem. So the defensive job is to keep you in the game, not let the Cowboys run away with it. And I think at the end of the day, that's what Vic and the defense was able to do, especially without their star Jalen Carter.
No, for sure. I mean, just like roles reversed. Like it's like Jalen Hurts got ejected first play, right? Then the offense is going to have to make those adjustments. So like, yeah. So the defense had to learn how to play without Carter. Learn, we don't have our Pro Bowl, all Pro defensive lineman who would have caused problems. He would have got to Prescott. He would have forced him into some quicker passes. And with that being said, and don't get me wrong, obviously Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean are fantastic players in the secondary, but that pass rush also helps elevate your secondary because it forces the quarterback and the rushing throws and then the bad throws, which obviously helps the secondary out. So I think that caused problems too. So in the end, the defense they did their adjustments. They kept him in the game. That's what mattered most, and it allowed this team to take the lead because obviously you go down 7-0, then you go down 14-7. But it kept battling, and eventually you finally got that one key stop that is the difference, and allowed the Eagles to go into halftime with the lead, and you went from there, and you just protected the lead.
I will say quick, I don't know what made me think of it, but I guess I'm going to take a quick break from the actual game itself and talk about how who the commentators were Chris Collinsworth and who was the other guy? It was just I was watching a recap this morning.
Mike Tirico.
Who is it?
Mike Tirico.
I was watching a recap this morning, and I don't even know what drive it was, and they were just like, "Oh, that Dak Prescott looks so good," and Tirico. There's no way I just said that name correctly, but Tirico, he was like, yeah, Dak walked into the press conference and he looked so good. Oh, he looked great on the field too. And it was just such a weird like I know you guys love Dallas and you don't like Philadelphia, but like to just be like, oh, he's the guy just looked so good walking into a press conference. It's like, bro, like, can you maybe take it out of your mouth for a little bit? Like, what are we doing? Like, I will say, like, I don't think there was anything blatantly anti-Philadelphia, which I appreciated. I feel like that's the minimum bar, maybe. But it was so annoying hearing them talk about Dallas still. And I was just glad we were able to win to, it wasn't even a shut them up thing, but just to rub it in.
Yeah, that's why I don't know. I've kind of have the announcers not on high anymore for any Philly game, really. If anything, I got the radio crew on more.
Did you put them on for this one?
Yeah, more often than not, I have the Eagles guys on or Phillies guys, vice versa, whatever.
That's why I remember you do that for the Phillies, but I couldn't remember if you do that for the Eagles too. I guess I should.
Yeah, it's nice. You just open up the Eagles website, they have it on there. You pause it till it syncs it, and then you play it. But no, it's a good combo, and I mean, it helps. It doesn't help that again. Yeah, like you said, it was the Cowboys, so it's America's team, quote unquote, and it is what it is. But I will say, Dak did play a good game. I'll give him. CeeDee Lamb cost him that game, not Dak Prescott.
Yes, agreed. And which is pretty surprising because if I go there real quickly, like Lamb had 110 yards. Like I think that's kind of what happens when you are too dependent on one person. Like because again, watching those recaps, like it's not like the Eagles secondary really ever got to Lamb. He just kept dropping the ball, and you usually see the quarterback stick with the player that's going to work, like whether like on the Eagles side of things, whether it's an AJ Brown game, not today, an AJ Brown game or a Devontae Smith game, like they usually, if one person is able to get through that defense, they're going to be consistent with them. But to have Lamb go and get 110 yards and also have as many drops as he did, I don't have it in front of me. Like, I mean, it's crazy. Cowboys could have won this game. And first game of the season, not overreacting yet, But like Cowboys could have won this game, and I'm assuming the Eagles are going to, improve in the next 2 weeks. I actually, hot take alert, but with us already thinking they're going to lose to Kansas City, I think that's a good wake up call. I think by the end of game 2, this team needs to be ready to go. Like game 3, we need to officially be out of this fake preseason.
I'll say this: Kansas City didn't look good. My prediction.
I know Kansas City didn't look good either.
I will say, how about the Eagles?
Look, real quick. There was 2 teams in the Super Bowl, and only one of them have a win. Let's just put that one out there.
I will say this is interesting enough. The Eagles wasted no time upgrading and changing the roster. Because Ben Van Zimmerman went on the IR, so they were able to go sign Darius Smith to help their pass rush, which he's been a pretty good veteran in the league. So they already kind of recognized where some flaws were, and that's what you got to love about Hy Roseman is he's going to make those moves. And then this morning or late last night, I think it was, they cut Kenyon Green. So they open up another roster spot. So they figure something else is coming here shortly, today or tomorrow. And there's still guys out there, like a Justin Simmons, safety-wise, that was never signed. So I'm curious what the next few days look like in that front.
How is always working, dude. How is always working. I will say, I think it's a good time to kind of shift real quick. Talk since I kind of already broke the ice with non-game things. Let's talk about the spit gate that occurred after the opening drive. You have for anyone who somehow doesn't know and is listening to this podcast, what appeared to be Jalen Carter, Dak Prescott square off. And Jalen Carter just hawks a thick loogie right at his neck too. He got a perfect shot. I got game's over. Who cares? Perfect. That went into his jersey and down his chest. That was so gross.
Also, did they have a face mask on? It's kind of, I'm not.
It was impressive.
But it's kind of to be able to control that with a face mask on.
And again, that was a loogie. That was a real spit. And
if that's me, it's going straight into my face mask.
He got it through the face mask grill. Got into the net. Like 10 out of 10 shot. You got to give him the props. Got to give him props. But it actually has come out. It came out after halftime. You can see Dak Prescott spits first at the ground in the direction of Jalen Carter. And he makes direct eye contact with Carter. I do think it was intentional. I do think it was a, what are you going to do kind of a move by Dak Prescott. I mean, whatever. Jalen Carter goes, spits into Dak's neck, immediately gets ejected from the game. I don't think there's been any other penalties so far. I'm kind of find it shocking that we haven't had the ruling on this yet.
I'll make my guess real quick, not to cut you off, but they probably wait for the week to be over, so they kind of deal with all
the whole
issues that might happen on Sunday. Yeah, that's my guess, because there's no way he's not getting fined at minimum.
Agreed, but I do think it's come out quite a bit, and people are pointing out that he technically served a 1-game suspension already because he missed the entire game, and I forget, and I don't have the example, but there was another example that was comparable to this, and they pointed out that event, which I don't have it's source, but whatever. But that event, there wasn't even a suspension involved; it was just a fine. So really, look, Jalen Carter's going to get fined, whatever. He's got all the money in the world because of being who he is. So let him get fined. But just let him play. I find it hard to. I don't think it's right to suspend him another game. I just don't think that's fair to the Eagles. I don't think that's fair to him, considering he didn't start it. I do think Jalen Carter reacted incorrectly. Dude's 24 years old. It's hard to believe because he's a giant. But I said it, Andrew. I think I said it to you off screen, but I'll say it again. He should have pushed him or something, or just got in his face. He needed to draw attention to the two of them that wasn't in a way that was going to get him immediately ejected. And I don't blame the refs for ejecting him. I actually think that was the fact that the game hadn't started yet and you have a very personal foul take place, I think that's the smart move. You don't want to cause you don't want to cause we'll get to softness later when we talk about I think it was Quinyon Mitchell's penalty. I think he was the one that got the flag. That was ridiculous.
I know what you're talking about.
Was it him?
Yeah.
And but anyway, staying on the Jalen Carter stuff, I don't fault them for ejecting him there. I think you gotta you don't want it to get worse off. Dak coming after another injured year, you don't want like some kind of fight to happen and cause Dak to get injured in the first game. Dallas would sue the Eagles and the NFL. Like, I actually don't think that's the worst decision the refs have ever made. However, I just don't think anything other than a fine should take place next. And I think it's more of a lesson for Jalen Carter because, yes, it eventually came out Dak spit first. Yes, I think it was intentional, but Dak did it in a way that it looks like, oh, I was just trying to clear my linemen and spit not on them. And Dak did it in a way that was like smart is the best way to put it. And Jalen Carter did it in a way that was like, oh, he's a 24-year-old hyped up on testosterone and steroids. And I'm just going to start a fight right now.
Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, you got to be smarter.
I'm glad you not to interrupt already, but like, you just can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be smarter, but unfortunately, listen, this is where it gets interesting because where the Eagles got to be careful, whether the league does or anything or not, I think the Eagles got to be careful and make sure they sit him down and send him a message. Now, I'm not saying go suspend him for a game, but I can't remember what he did last year, but I remember there was a game. I think he was suspended internally for the first quarter or first half. The Eagles held him out alone because I know he was late to meetings last year. And so I think with that being said, it isn't his first thing he's done to hurt the team. So I think, don't get me wrong, he's the best defender on the team. He's the best player on defense. The Eagles obviously need him out there. So I'm not going to say suspend him for a game. I'm just saying the Eagles got to be careful because this isn't his first thing with the Eagles franchise. So I think you have to be able to sit him down, send him a message. And, I think I remember he's one of the guys that was screaming at Sirianni on the sideline last year. And the defensive line coach had to be one of the guys to kind of hold him back and keep him calm. So I think this is where he just lets his emotions get to him in the moment. Like, I don't think, that makes it anything against the team. It makes anything against Sirianni. He's a guy that just feeds off that stuff. And Prescott, I mean, these guys know each other. They know what they're doing. And he went after the guy he felt he could get under his skin. Now, do you think he was going to get Carter ejected? Probably not. He was probably searching for just a 15-yard penalty, something like that.
He's probably just trying to push his buttons into.
But he went after the right guy. Is my point. Like these players know the guy to try whose skin to get under, and that's where he went after the guy he thought he could get a reaction from, and he got a reaction. And
I will say, I was listening to sports radio the next day, and obviously this was a huge topic everyone was talking about. And one of the things one of the guys says was like, every team, like how teams go to watch tape to see what they're going to take advantage of, like in the upcoming games. Like every team right now knows, push Jalen Carter's buttons and see what happens. Like try to get him to do something stupid. And that's what. Look, he's a very I don't know if it's insecure.
I think it's your point there. He's a young guy that these 24-year-old, 25-year-olds. I mean, yeah, I think the Eagles got to be careful because of his previous incidents on the team where they had to keep him out, hold him out before, and then. Where Jalen Carter, that he had to, he's been late to meetings before. So I think they got to send a message internally to him. Just call him in, sit him down, and figure things out where he's at and make sure that doesn't happen again. Just because, he's young, he's a growing guy, and maturity-wise as well in the NFL. And these guys are going to keep taking advantage of him if he doesn't improve.
I think it comes, like, he's being very immature, but he's already gotten paid. And because of that combination, look, he can say all the right stuff in a press interview, but I think literally his post-game interview speaks exactly to who he is. He said all the right things in that press conference, but he was wearing a shirt saying got paid or something like that. And it's like, he can say whatever someone tells him to say, but at the end of the day, he doesn't care and he's not going to change who he is. And that's kind of the dangerous combination, especially coming off of getting paid. Already having a Super Bowl, knowing how good he is on the team. Now, what I would love, we're not going to hear this or see this, but what I would love is if behind the scenes someone goes, "Hey, dude, like, yeah, you're a big integral part of this team, but the Eagles just won against Dallas without you. Like button up because at the end of the day, you are just another cog in this machine. Like, you're an important one, especially important. But if you're going to be a problem, they're not going to stick with that. Like, that's just not how the Eagles roll. That's not how Howie and that's not how Jeffrey Lurie, like, they love they love giving second chances. They love giving like people opportunity. They don't deal with bullshit. So I think that if he keeps this up, like, it's just a major red flag that won't go away.
No, for sure. And the Eagles proved this offseason. They traded Gardner Johnson. They're not going to put up with it, and they're all about having a good clubhouse.
And then if you get rid of Jalen Carter, you can add Micah Parsons. You just have to somehow get him from Green Bay now. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, I'd rather Carter, but
but all right, I think we talked enough about that. I did mention earlier, so I do want to briefly touch upon it. There was a play where Nolan Smith, I don't even remember the details of the play actually at this point. Got a tackle, I assume, but he flexes on the Dallas Cowboys player, and he got a personal foul for that. And look, I understand. I think it's stupid because I think at the end of the day, this is a game, and these are a bunch of men playing a sport. And if they want to taunt each other, I say let them have it. Like, what's the worst that happens in that situation? Like, it's a sport. Like, grow up. Like, let them taunt each other. I think it's dumb to have that penalty at all. I think it's soft. You want to talk about soft things in this world? I think that's incredibly soft. However, what's even worse and more soft is all he did was taunt. Like a flag for a taunting penalty should be like, I don't know, directed, flipping someone off, spitting on them. Like, these are all things that like are very like, all he did was flex. What do you want him to do? Smile at him? Do you want him to not look him in the eye? Like, I think there's a level of like unreal. Like, I don't know. These are a bunch of men getting paid millions of dollars. I can't speak. These are a bunch of men getting paid millions of dollars to play a sport that thrives on aggression. Like, let them be slightly aggressive.
yeah, there's a line for everything, and I don't think there's an extent. You can't just allow anything to go about because that's how
No.
you're going to start fights and everything. So I disagree on that sense of letting him taunt like crazy to that point. But I mean, you can't get in anybody's face. But when the guy's on the ground and he turns to his teammates, I think that's different. Yeah, this is a bad penalty there. I mean, he tackled the guy, he flexes, and he didn't get in anybody's face. He wasn't in jawing with anybody. So I mean, there's a line for everything, and this is by far nowhere near that line. And I think it's something that broadcast talked about. The NFL is going to crack down on it, so be ready for this not to be the only one. I think you're going to see it through a lot this season, and I think you'll see some more today on Sunday as we record. I think with the game starting, I think it's going to be something we'll see in almost every game if that's going to be a taunting penalty. And that's the other problem. It's going to be on the refs' judgment. So it's not going to be consistent because some refs are going to be like, to your point, yeah, it's football. You're going to let that happen. And then some refs, I think especially the younger refs who are just getting into the league, who are going to try to be by the book, will be throwing those penalties.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be inconsistency, and that's where it's going to really become a problem.
Yeah, and maybe obviously with it happening to an Eagles player, I'm going to be on the Eagles side of it the majority of the time. But as an unbiased step back, I just think to not let them, I don't know, live in the moment at all is insane. Like, any team, like, I'm not going to say a division rivalry because I hate Dallas, New York, and Washington. But like, let's say the Bills. I don't know. I'm very high on Buffalo right now. I think Josh Allen is. I just really think the Bills could go to the AFC Championship and possibly the Super Bowl. So, as does everyone. But not a hot take. But my point being, like, I don't know. I can't think straight right now. But like, if a Bills player did that and got called for it, like, I would be like just as this is stupid reaction to this. Like I don't. This was not that egregious of a taunt, and I just think it like to not have any like. I don't know, man. There has to be some personality to this. Like, do you want people to not lean into the division rivalries? Do you want people to not lean into Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes or Jason Kelsey versus Travis Kelsey? Like, these all things live off of emotion. And, like, sure, Philadelphia is higher in emotional reactions than other cities and other teams, but, like, to not have any emotion in the sport at all is just stupid. And I think it's dumb. I think it's extremely dumb, and I think there is a line. And as long as no one is being like personally attacked emotionally, how bad could it be?
That's the problem. That's the way, and that's the problem. The judgment calls because that's the way the ref viewed it because he made the tackle and the guy's laying there on the ground. So no, I don't think it was directed toward him. That's the way the ref viewed it, as it's directed toward the guy. He's screaming at him on the ground, and I think that's where the difference is between having a play like that for a loss of yards versus every time a cornerback breaks up a play with a safety next to him and him and the safety celebrate together. And while the guy's not on the ground. So I think that again, it comes down to it's the issue with the rule is it's all refs' judgment, and you're going to have different refs make that call, and you're going to have different refs not make that call. And that again, that's because you rarely see a cornerback get called for that, and you see them celebrate even when the ball goes 10 yards over the receiver's head and he did nothing. You still see the cornerback celebrate like he just made a big play. So I think again, it's the difference of having the guy with the ball on the ground, and that's where the ref deemed it. So it's going to be interesting this year if they're really going to crack down on it that bad.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait and see. So I have two quick things I want to touch on before we wrap it up. I think we're getting a little long here. Two quick things to touch on. One, not really anything in the Eagles or Cowboys side of things, but there was the weather delay that happened. And Andrew, I don't remember the last time an NFL game has been affected by a weather delay. Do you?
An NFL game? Yeah, I think it happens at least once or twice. I don't know.
What, like once a year? Like, what do you like? Yeah. I truly, personally, just don't remember.
The Eagles, I don't remember, but I feel like I remember it happening. Maybe it's college football. There's so much football going on, but just because lightning happened, it's just a lightning delay is what it is. Because they'll play through rain and snow. So
and that's what sure. You've seen them play in rain so much. It's just hard to believe. Like, look. As someone who's been a lifeguard who takes CPR first aid training classes, I'm like health is important, and I'm not saying they made the wrong call. It was like it happened, and I was shocked. I was
shocked. Yeah. I don't know the last time that happened for an Eagles game. We've seen him play in the snow last year in the playoffs. We've seen him play in rain. Obviously, Lambeau Field, they always talk about how cold and the weather there that everybody plays through. So, yeah, it was definitely a shocking moment when, actually, I think it was in between plays. And I turned my back for a second and looked back at the TV, and they were walking off the field. And like, what did I just miss?
Yeah,
it was right after the fumble, wasn't it?
It was right after the fumble recovery by the Eagles. Yeah. And
you're waiting for them to come on the field, and they're walking the other way.
and truly, like, I'm not saying we underperformed because of this, but the Eagles would have had a lot of adrenaline momentum going into that drive, and hopefully scored, at least get a field goal kind of a thing. But that drive was I think that was a 3-and-out when they actually started the game. Yeah. Like, it was really bad.
Too, as much as we look at these guys on another level, because they are that much more athletic than all of us, but like in the end, they're still human. So imagine having to wait an hour, and then this is a night game, right? So it's not even like it's a 1:00 game where you're getting back on the field at 5:00. They're getting back on the field. It's like 11:30, 11:45, and
they're at the 12:30
prepping for that game. So like it's not like they're tired just person wise, being human. They're tired, and they gotta go back out, stretch and everything again, and go through that whole motion. So you gotta give them somewhat of a break on that end too. You saw it affect both teams. There's a reason why both teams didn't score.
Do you think they were working out during the break, or were they just sitting in the locker room twiddling their thumbs?
I bet you with that many guys, I hate to be that guy to just say mix, but I bet you it wasn't mixed. There's some of them that are trying to walk around, not necessarily lifting weights to a giant extent, but they're probably walking around trying to stay in the moment a little bit. But I mean, especially the first 10, 15 minutes. But when you find out there's another and you got to wait another half hour and it's that hour mark, then you know they're sitting. I mean, at some point you're sitting around.
Because my instant reaction is cardio, like either an exercise bike or a treadmill. Like just keep yourself moving, like physically. Yeah. Like it's not about pumping weights, or it's about just physically moving to keep your heart. Like you don't have to be like, at extreme workout pace. Just don't let yourself get to a resting heart rate, basically. Yeah. And I don't know. Do you think they're like? But at the same time, sorry, what I'm trying to get to is I don't know that I would guess that their gym has enough facility, like for everyone to do the same thing at once, kind of a thing. But also, then you've got Dallas, who I assume was just sitting in their locker room. Like I don't think they have a spare weight room, like.
Yeah, I mean, that facility's so big they might.
That's true.
And some teams come in early, like if they're far and they get a few days to get acquainted to everything. So I don't know.
I just imagine Jalen Hurts sitting there. Well, no, that's a bad example. Jalen Hurts was sitting there like holding his hands in a fist and just staring at a wall for sure. He was just like, "Don't let up, don't let up, don't let up." Yeah. I don't know, but I like picturing like Barkley or Smith or someone just sitting on their phone like on TikTok like for an hour. You know what I mean? Like
some would work.
Yeah, exactly, dude. All right, last thing I want to touch on. I'll let Andrew throw in anything before we go. But last thing I wanted to say. I know we talked about it last episode. We are a Nick Sirianni pro podcast. I think everyone has to be at this point after winning a Super Bowl, but like, dude is 5-0 and no home openers. Just saying.
Yeah, he knows how to get the team ready. That's why I always talk about that in the bye week. When he's got extra time to prepare, I mean, on top of being a dangerous coach, it's almost that much more time for him to prepare. I mean, even when Andy Reid was here, there's always the number when Andy Reid had that extra week to go, and you'll start hearing about it going into this week. He's had an extra. Well, Chiefs ended up playing early too, but he's got extra time to prepare for the Chiefs as well. So you're going to hear about that all week and everything. It's almost like a mini coming off a mini bye. I guess you can call it. Some people call it when you play Thursday to Sunday. So we'll see. But credit to him. He just knows how to get teams ready, and that's why it's tough to argue. As much as we talk about, we hate not having the preseason because it does let the guys get ready. It's tough to argue with whatever he does because obviously whatever he's doing, it works. Because like you said, 5-0 in openers underneath him, Super Bowl winning coach, and I mean, and he's made 2 Super Bowls, so whatever he's doing is working.
That's right. Now, I guess so. That was I did just think of something. It's more on the funny thought side than anything, especially with a win. But A.J. Brown getting 1 yard during this game was insane. I mean, first of all, my fantasy team that I depended on, like literally, like was a first-round pick for me, and I was like, "Oh, great, he got me 1.1 points in that league." But A.J. Brown getting 1 yard, 1 target, just absolutely crazy. I expect he'll go off next week, but we'll see. I don't know. Just the last random thought I had.
Yeah, you don't like to see it. Obviously, as a guy, you expect to get more. But I think, again, it was the weird game, part of the game plan. They were trying to utilize everybody else. And I'll tell you what, though, credit to him. He stayed ready. When he got his 1 catch, I mean, it was only, I think, 7 or 8 yards, but it was it set up the run there for Hurts on 3rd down to seal that first down. So, I mean, in the end, you got to give him credit for staying with it, staying alive, and getting that, being ready for when his moment came. Because it was a big few yards to set up the next play for the first down.
Andrew was right. I did mix up my numbers here. I read 1 reception as 1 yard. He got 8 yards. So, hey, nobody's perfect. All right, Andrew, anything else before we wrap this up?
No, good win. Again, odd game, week 1. That's all and that's the best way to put it. This team's going to improve. I know some people are panicking already, but there's no need to worry.
You know what else can improve is our Spotify follower account. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you go follow us on Spotify if you haven't already. Subscribe on YouTube to the Philly Gamer, and be sure to come back. We are trying to, I will reveal now, do a 3 episode a week schedule at this moment. This is a 2 episodes of Eagles per week, as well as 1 episode of Phillies per week. I'm saying it live on the podcast to keep me and Andrew in check. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. You find us links at social media in the description below. I just created a TikTok, so, go check that out, I guess. But that's all I got. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And as always, go Birds. Good night.